Okay, so back after a mildly extended absence, covering Simpsons episodes. It's been about a couple of years.
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe a little intro. Any Simpsons news? Have you watched any Simpsons since then?
I started probably the odd episode. I mean, like when I first moved here to where I live now in Manchester, we didn't have internet. We pretty much watched the whole of season 5, just because we didn't have much else to watch.
A good season.
That's a very good season. Yeah, that's a great one. But outside of that, in terms of Simpsons, it's kind of more business as usual. I've paid no attention to the modern stuff. I've watched the occasional episode that might pop up when I'm watching TV, and that's pretty much it. So it's pretty much picking up exactly where we left off.
Yeah, no news. Nothing new has happened in The Simpsons. No controversies, so we can leave that. And yeah, we're covering I Married Marge, 12th episode of season 3. Originally aired on the Fox network, December 26th, 1991.
Boxing Day.
Yeah, Boxing Day itself, pretty relevant as we build up to Christmas. So.
Yeah, we could maybe start our Christmas special. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised there wasn't a Christmas special really with The Simpsons. Like the last one was obviously the German one, the least festive of all nations.
Yeah. Not famous at all for their popular markets or anything like that, or their Oktoberfests.
Yeah.
No, I think the last Christmas special The Simpsons did was probably the first episode.
Well, that was disastrous. So.
It's probably the first ever episode. Yeah, that's probably the last time I did a Christmas special. They're not really known for really famous Christmas episodes, really.
Yeah. But yeah, this is not a Christmas one or a Boxing Day one. Written by Jeff Martin, directed by Jeffrey Lynch. Basic plotline is Homer and Marge think that they may be having another child. Marge goes off to see a doctor to check, and Homer regales the children with story of how Bart was born and the sort of problems that they faced in trying to get money together to raise a family in the tough world of 1980 America.
The golden era of the 80s, as Homer describes it. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of I Married Marge?
Well, I Married Marge is part of kind of Imperfect, a bit before they started bogging the series down in, terrible rewrites, but, they used to have a really kind of strong foundation of, I guess, the background to the characters. Like, you can kind of take this episode and maybe 4 others and you can form a loose, prequel special to, The Simpsons. And I Married Marge is probably amongst the best of them, I think.
Yeah. So just for context, the one, I suppose you'd do the one that we covered last season where Homer and Marge meet.
Yeah.
This one, there's the one, isn't there, where Lisa's going to be born. I remember that one, because it's got the joke where Bart spins around naked on the...
Yes, yeah. I'm living in the ever so slightly racist Italian sector of Springfield.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Who wants a baby? It's like...
Oi!
And then there's the Maggie one.
That's my favourite one.
Yeah, that's a great one, yeah. But yeah, no, this one is... I'd rank it pretty high in terms of the, prequel episodes, as I call them. The origin story. I'd rank them pretty high. And, it's kind of especially when you consider what we've done recently to actively undermine and ruin, these early episodes. It's kind of nice coming back to a simpler time and a nicer time for The Simpsons, So no, I love this one. I think this is an all-time... It's definitely an all-time classic, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the funniest one that we've watched so far.
There's some great lines in this one. There's some absolute killer delivery, especially from Julie Kavanaugh,
who won an Emmy for this episode.
Fun factoid.
We've been doing research now. No more of this going off the hook.
No, I was like, I guess we've done this episode, and John Vitti wrote it. Yeah, so no, not that we're going to go back and re-record our classic episodes because there's 0 point in that. But we'd like to think we've grown and developed since those 2 years. And
I think The Simpsons, we're now hitting a peak, and we've got a good 6 years in us before we
start descending into mediocrity.
Yeah. So yeah, like before we start, like you'll be able to buy like little soft toys of us soon, and it'll like pull a string, and then it'll say like I like Altman, but I like Kubrick. It'll be all one.
I like Kubrick. Yeah.
Inherent Vice is good.
Inherent Vice, more like incoherent vice.
But yeah, I Married Marge. Yeah, I think it's the funniest one. I don't think it's quite as strong emotionally as the last one. The one where he actually meets Marge.
Yeah, because like I mean, I think one of the clever things that these kind of prequel ones do is that they do genuinely get you invested in the story, even though you know it's going to turn out okay.
Yeah,
and I don't quite know how they do that, but I do agree that it's probably not as emotionally strong as the first one. I mean, I think part of this one is it's helped by some quality Patty Selma and Marge's mum time.
Yeah,
it's like a kind of not really much of a figure in the series.
Yeah, the only ones I can think... There's a few that like centre around her, like the one where the parody of The Graduate, where she falls in love with Mr. Burns and the grandpa.
Grandpa, yeah.
Which got one of the funniest gags in that we'll discuss when it's when we get to it.
When we get to it, yeah.
But yeah, is she even in it? I can't remember any ones after that she's even in, to be honest.
I'm not too sure, to be honest. She's not in a massive amount.
Well, let's be honest. She could be in anything after season 11, and we wouldn't know about it.
Exactly. Yeah, she might have died for all we know. Well, what's she called?
Bouvier, something Bouvier.
Yeah.
Madame Bouvier.
Bouvier. That's I'm definitely not spelled that right. But yeah, sorry. Yeah. So there's some absolute killer.
Jacqueline Bouvier.
Jacqueline Bouvier. Yeah, we're on the Simpsons Wikipedia page. She is alive. We can confirm that she is alive.
We can also confirm that she is female. And retired.
She's retired.
And also played by Julie Kavanaugh.
Oh, well, that's the small world, isn't it? There's not too much about her.
Yeah, I think she's barely in it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think because she's like a slightly... Oh, we've got a whole list of episodes here, and she's not in... She's mentioned a lot, but she's not really in a lot. And pretty much after... Yeah, pretty much after like the classic era, she crops up every now and then, but we do get some prime Jacqueline Bouvier time in this episode, and she's great. There's like a really wonderful line where like Homer comes back after like, but basically Homer essentially doesn't split up with Marge, but essentially kind of goes off to make his own tracks and return to her like as a man when he's got a job, and anyway he does that. And comes back and finds out Marge has gone into labour, and he needs a lift to the hospital, and Marge's mum's like, I'll drive you, and Homer's like, oh gee, thanks mum, and he's like, don't ever call me that. The animation's super great, like on like her eyes like squinting and stuff, and like it's super good. Yeah, so some prime time from Marge's family, Marge's immediate family, which I like.
Yeah, that's all good. The one it reminds me most of is actually the Maggie one, because I was thinking on watching it that it has a similar structure, because in that one Homer quits his job at the power plant to work at a bowling alley, and this is working as a windmill spinner. Yeah. Truly a Sancho Panzo. I was trying to get a Don Quixote reference, but I couldn't think of the character's reference.
Yeah.
Trying to highbrow up this podcast.
Yeah, we've developed in the 2 years since.
Exactly, yes. As Jimmy Carter is smarter, but Scooby-Doo can do.
Jimmy Carter is smarter.
But yeah, I think it's similar to that one, but it's not as emotionally resonant, because like in that one we know he loves bowling. So yeah. There's like the build up of the character there lets us know. Like, I don't think he has any affinity for the windmill spinning machine.
No, it's just a job, isn't it? Yeah.
I love the way in this and all that he lives with Barney at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
But there's no attempt to make Barney any younger. He's just looks exactly as he normally does.
The exact same character model. Yeah. There's literally no difference there, is there? That's good as well. Like, I mean, like, there's that fun scene where, like, they're like flatmates and stuff, and we're watching Charlie's Angels, and like, Awooga. Yeah, I mean, a different time. But yeah, I mean, there's also some great 80s references in general, including the all-time classic gag where we walk out of, it's 1980, so we walk out of The Empire Strikes Back, and Homer expletes spoilers. Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. And then he ruins it for the whole line who's waiting to watch the movie, which is super great. So lots of fun little tidbits and little references in this one that I liked.
The montage is super great. Set to, is it Dolly Parton 9 to 5?
I think, yeah.
He has like an assortment of sort of crappy jobs, knife salesman and...
where he hands like the knife edge to the old woman, yeah.
Oh, I love the one where he's like, he goes to a pyramid scheme, he goes to a pyramid, it's a trapezoid.
9 till 5. Let's look at who actually wrote that song.
I'm telling you, it's going to be Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton, yeah.
You're talking to the number one Dolly Parton fan here, like...
Yeah, no, that's really good. It's like, oh, I thought you liked dogs.
Yeah,
I also like the joke with when Homer goes for his interview of a nuclear power plant, and Spooz is like, oh, only 2 out of 3 of you can get this job, and it's like, oh, he bumps into like some old like college like associates, and he's like, yeah, you got no chance. And Homer's trying to keep up with the song, like bow wow wow wow. Like, I think that's super funny. Yeah, there's lots of great gags in this one. It's a really funny script.
Did you find it a realistic portrait of sort of lower middle class people going through having a first child?
Well, I can't relate to that.
They're similar age to me and you, 24 in it, and
sure, yeah. I'd assume so. I guess it's slightly different now because obviously, like, you know, Homer is the sole provider.
Yeah, that's pretty unrealistic now.
It's a little bit different now. Yeah, it's kind of not the way it is, and you know, Marge is just stopping at home, and it's interesting rewatching these Simpsons episodes now, probably 2 years down the line after a lot of like, you know, stuff like in terms of representation in media has developed so much like since the 2 years since we stopped doing these.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, we've got to deal with the whole problem with Apu.
Yeah.
You know, at some point, as one example. So it's kind of interesting looking at it now through the lens of like, this is a very 90s, well, very 80s, 90s look at what, you know, gender politics were like.
Yeah, gender politics, like, he gets a job very easily. There's never any discussion about abortion in it as well, which is quite...
That made me, that's interesting, yeah.
I think now, well, the Simpsons one, because obviously it's quite, like, tame.
It's not going to go there, yeah.
But I think most, like, sitcoms now would at least have a discussion of it, even if they didn't sort of go ahead with it, you know, like, they could have at least acknowledged the fact. Like, you know, he's pretty poor Doctor. Well, I suppose maybe it's a portrait of the set 80s, but Dr. Hibbert just goes, yeah, like, yeah, good going. Like, there's never a discussion of what to do next.
So, you ruined your life. Like, there's no other option. Yeah.
I love his afro as well.
Yeah, well, that's a fun thing in these origin ones where Dr. Hibbert's hair keeps on changing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, in the next one, he's got, like, dreadlocks and stuff, and, like, that's pretty fun. I like that. There's a great line by Grandpa as well, which is wonderfully sexist, where he's like, now you've got to reel her in, she fell into the trap, and like, good old Grandpa, you're curmudgeon. Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, if you're not seen it, I mean, like, it's just one of them, like, classic episodes.
Yeah, and I imagine it was pretty forward-looking for, as much as we can rib it now, I imagine that it was pretty forward-looking for the time. Like, at least it acknowledges the fact that they were poor and having to get stuff, like, taken away from them and stuff. Like,
yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, like...
It's pretty harrowing watching them getting all the stuff, like, ripped away from them by the... Well, not that harrowing, it is a comedy, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not like...
Well, you've got the great line where he says, like, repossessing stuff is the hardest part of my job. Which is really good. Yeah, I mean, because obviously it is easy to forget, but, like, you know, even the concept of a cartoon showing, like, a repossession of a house, like, it just wasn't a done thing. Could you imagine that happening, like, in the Tom and Jerry cartoon, for example? Like, you know, cartoons weren't meant to do realistic stuff like that. And yeah, we can rip it to pieces now, but... Oh, no, I'll tell you what might be my standout joke of the episode. It's where Mr. Burns is playing Mrs. Pac-Man. It's like, ironic, isn't it? The hunter has become the hunted. And he takes such gleeful joy from playing Miss Pac-Man. Like, I think that's super good. Yeah, just...
Yeah, it's a great episode, yeah, like, a classic of the early ones. What would you give it out of the 10?
I'm going to go for a solid... I've got to be really kind of more critical when it comes to my scoring. I'm saying 8, borderline a 9.
I'd go solid 9. I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It suffers in comparison to the other ones that the other origin ones, 'cause it's not as emotionally resonant. But other than that, there's no real problems with it. It's just a really good episode.
It's a great one, solid, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, we're back now. Join us for, I think, next one's Radio Bart.
Yeah, you missed a great opportunity for a Simpsons-related joke there. We're back in park form.
Send it there.